episode of Tinfoil Hat Chats podcast. I'm your host, Jay, and this is actually going to be a mini-sode. I'm just testing the waters here, and I'm going to jump right in. So, this very first topic is going to give an overview of the 1952 Washington, D.C. UFO flap. And before I get started, I just want to point something out. This story is very, very near and dear to me for a number of reasons, but the most significant reason is because my father, who grew up in Washington, D.C., in the 50s saw this with his own eyes, and he doesn't talk about it much. I believe I've heard this story maybe 4 times, and I'm in my mid 40s now. But I'll say this much: his story has never changed. It's never altered at any point. It's always been consistent, and that just leads additional credence to his story. So want to jump right in and start. So on Saturday, July 19th, 1952, at about 11:40 p.m., radio controllers at Washington National Airport detected unusual activity on their radar screens. 7 unexplained signals were detected near Andrews Air Force Base. These blips did not correspond to any known scheduled flight path. Movements were erratic, including sudden darting motions, abrupt stops, and rapid changes in direction and speed. The radar readings were confirmed by other technicians at Andrews Air Force Base who were also seeing the objects on radar and in the sky itself. One commercial airline captain reported seeing, quote, a bright light streaking across the horizon, while another described a glowing object that, quote, seemed to hover and then accelerate upward at tremendous speed. Over the next several hours, air traffic controllers observed the radar targets approach upon restricted airspace directly above the White House and the U.S. Capitol. The objects disappeared suddenly in the early morning hours of July 20th. But this was not the end of the story. On the following Saturday, July 26th, exactly 1 week later, radar operators at National Airport and Andrews Air Force Base again detected these same unknown objects. These objects were recorded moving at extreme velocities. Some calculations based on their speed across the radar scope kind of puts them at about 7,000 miles per hour. That's about 11,250 kilometers per hour, a speed far beyond the capabilities of any known aircraft at that time. Eyewitnesses described glowing orange and white lights streaking through the night sky, and at times the objects appeared to hover motionless before accelerating quickly and disappearing. The increased activity on this second weekend in July prompted the Air Force to send out fighter jets. Objects consistently evaded or vanished when the interceptors approached. Public alarm intensified as police departments and newspapers received numerous calls from civilians who claimed to have observed strange lights over the Capitol. Radio controllers and pilots were really stressed, which prompted the United States Air Force to dispatch jet interceptors from Newcastle Air Force Base in Delaware to engage the objects. As the F 94 Starfire jets approached DC, the UFOs vanished from radar, completely disappeared. They only reappeared on the screens the moment the jets returned to their airbase. This pattern of evasion was repeated several times throughout the night. One pilot subsequently reported seeing 4 white lights that disappeared before he was able to close in for a closer identification. Pressed for information and answers, Air Force provided a flimsy explanation. They said it was temperature inversions, and Project Blue Book, to this date, this case is unsolved. Now, what are your thoughts? Now, here's my thought. Temperature inversions, BS. They're called BS. These were solid physical objects. A temperature inversion is an intangible. These were tangible objects that were seen on radar and in person by multiple eyewitnesses. There is no way that this was temperature inversions. I will admit the Air Force didn't know what it was in 1952. They didn't know. They didn't have to lie. They totally just baked up this BS uh, explanation and fed it to the public as if it were going to make it go away. Well, here we are all these decades later, and it's still alive and well. I want to know what my father saw. I'm pretty sure he wants to know what he saw. Um, this is definitely still a mystery. It's one of my favorite UFO stories. I don't think it's ever going to be answered. Personally, I think it was aliens, but guess we'll see. And you guys, thank you for joining me for my very first mini-sode. I hope to have more of these soon. Don't forget, like and subscribe.